that's in part of that complex called 7 World Trade Center. And it's a 40-something story building. It's a very short building that's next to the 2 Twin Towers. And actually, they asked, do you know why that building came down? They said, no, we don't. And they showed real quick footage where you see the building just come down from, you can only see the tops of the buildings in the shot.
And it came down also.
Yes, it just comes straight down. It was demolished. Yep.
Somebody blew those buildings up from the bottom.
Yeah, and if at the least,
no plane hit that third building, did it?
No.
And the other 2 didn't fall on it, did they?
No.
It just came right down, didn't it?
That's right. But the third building definitely just came down, just straight down.
Third building came straight down. It's not connected to the other 2.
Nope.
The other 2 didn't fall on it.
Nope.
It's a third separate building altogether, and it collapsed, and no plane flew into that.
That's right. It went straight down.
Wow.
Didn't heat or anything like that.
Well, you see, I didn't even know about that one.
I just learned about it right now. And
were you running tape, I hope?
No. I just flipped it on. And
I hope somebody was running tape. What network was that on?
This is on ABC.
I hope somebody out there was running tape on ABC when they just showed that footage, because we need that. That's proof positive. There's no way that anybody can refute that those buildings were blown up and brought down intentionally if what Bart just told us is true. But we need it on tape. Somebody get that on tape for us, please. Gee, Bart, I'm glad you were watching. I know that was Janelle watching also?
No, she's not here right now.
Oh, that's too bad. I was hoping for another witness. So nobody could call in and say you didn't see that. I hope somebody else was watching ABC and saw that. If there was a third building that collapsed just like the other 2 did, no plane crashed into it.
Nope.
And it came down.
It's funny because the anchor right here on Channel 7, I just blanked out his name, but he even specifically asked the civil engineer named John Magnuson.
I need you to talk a lot louder, Bart. I can't hear you.
The anchor even asked the civil engineer who was being interviewed, do you have any idea why the third building came down? He said, I have no idea. And also, they stated that people have expressed that they believe that someone like a civil engineer or a structural engineer may have been a part of this. And this person being interviewed said he sure hope not, that civil engineers would be wanting to protect life, not take life.
Oh, yeah. Oh, come on. Give me a break. There's criminals in every occupation, in every profession. And somebody would have to know something about the structure of those buildings to do this.
Yes. And what's really interesting is that this civil engineer, John Magnuson, he stated that the towers were built in the 60s, and they were, at the time, of course, they were at the pinnacle of design, and they were built with major redundancy. Actually, the columns, he said, were 39 inches from center to center. So the columns were 39 inches apart, whereas in modern buildings, they're about something like 10 feet apart. And so they're actually built very, very strong, and yet, level to the ground now.
Okay.
They were discussing why the buildings came down so fast, and they are stating that structural and civil engineers are saying that they actually talked to the firm that designed the building, and said that it was designed to take a hit, and it wasn't the collision that took it down.
Good evening, you're on the air.
Hi, Bill. Boy, I tell you, I live out here in New Jersey. It's tough getting through. Most of the phone lines are down, and I'm calling on my cell. But Bill, yeah, I couldn't agree more. When I first watched that film this morning, that video of that building coming down, it reminded me, my father-in-law said the same thing, like a demolition explosion.
Yeah, it's like the bottom dropped right out from it.
Exactly, Bill. It was just like it rolled, like when you see stadiums go down when they knock, or old buildings. We said to each other, my God, I said, the bottom part of the building was fine, and all of a sudden, boom, it started rolling. It was like the explosion was coming from inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's just another Oklahoma City job. And of course the planes, but yeah, I agree, Bill. Those planes couldn't have taken that building down like that.
No way.
Absolutely. Okay, Bill, look, I'll let somebody else get on.
And especially both of them.
Exactly.
I mean, it's
Exactly,
just, it's a perfect demolition of two huge, tremendously strong towers that were built to withstand forces that you can't even imagine. And you're trying to tell me that an airplane took them down?
Yeah, no way.
No way. No way. Didn't happen.
Take care.
You too. Thanks for calling. Good evening. You're on the air.
Hey, Bill, it's Linda.
Hi.
I just see interesting quote on the engineering website about the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
And it's in relation to the previous bombing there a couple years ago.
Yeah.
It says on February 26, 1993, a large bomb inside a van in the parking garage underneath the World Trade Center was detonated, killing 6 people and injuring 1,042. The bomb was 1,200 pounds of urea nitrate, comparable in size to the Oklahoma City bomb, causing a tremendous release of energy with not a single place to go because it was all closed in. While the explosion created an enormous crater where the parkade used to stand, the terrorist intention to topple the 110-story building was thwarted by Yamasaki's engineering skill. That's the designer of the building. Because of the load-carrying role of the exterior steel columns, and the foundation was unaffected by the blast.
All right.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, and we have another quote from the people who designed it, who say that it was designed to take the full impact of a 707 commercial jetliner.
Yeah.
Also, we've discovered that there was a third building that also came down.
Yeah, I've been hearing about that all afternoon.
How did it come down? Because no plane hit it, and no part of the other two buildings came down on it.
Right. There was the third one was another part of the complex there.
Yeah, it's about, according to what I heard, it's about 48 or some odd stories high.
Yeah.
Well, that's incredible. That's another building. One of which we know a plane did not hit, and no part of the other two buildings came down on top of it. There's no reason why that third building should have collapsed. Linda, did you watch the buildings collapse? Did it look?
I saw one of them collapse.
What did it look like to you?
It looked exactly like a controlled detonation. It was perfect.
Have you been listening to this broadcast?
For the past couple of hours, but I knew that when I saw the thing fall down, which is before I heard you on the air this evening.
So you saw what I saw.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. It looks exactly to me like it was brought down by a demolition team that knew exactly what they were doing.
Exactly. Well, there's been other examples of buildings that actually had structural failure, like there was a walkway that collapsed, like in a dance club, something like that, and they collapsed like cardboard boxes. And they didn't just disintegrate like this building did.
No, and they don't come straight down ever. They fall over, or pieces of them fall out, or sides of them fall off.
Right.
But they don't collapse in on us all the way to the bottom like these buildings have done.
I know.
And if you look at the pictures, and I've only seen a couple of them all day long, when they show the base of the buildings, you can see what's left of the structural members of the building all cut at the same height. And that's about 100 feet above the ground, I'm estimating. I don't really know if that's the proper height, because I don't have any perspective to measure it by. It could be lower than that. So there we go. And now we got to find out what brought down the third building.
Well, I'll see what I can find, and I'll send you something.
Okay, okay, please, do that. And if you find anything out, before 8 p.m. tonight, call back on the air.
All right.
Thanks, Linda.
Okay, bye-bye.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, bye.
Good evening, you're on the air.
Bill, Tommy from North Carolina.
Hi, Tommy.
Bill, what I saw today, and I was watching earlier this morning, was that a jar, and then the top started falling down due to the bottom, being dropped out from under it.
That's exactly what I saw.
And then that will cause a chain reaction, will bring everything down on top of it.
Yeah, that's
just like a demolition. Excuse me, I don't want to interrupt.
That's okay, but that's exactly what I saw. Exactly what you just described is exactly what I saw.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right,
and thank you for calling. The plane, of course, crashed into the building and was burning, and there was a big hole in the side. But it didn't go all the way through. And if the top was going to collapse, it would have collapsed where the fire was the greatest and where the hole was. It would have toppled over, not fallen straight down.
Well, I've watched on the Learning Channel, demolitions, and they're taking down buildings, and some of them they can't take down. So you have to remine them a second time to take buildings down because they're so well engineered.
It's not easy to bring down a building, and it's really hard to make it collapse exactly straight down upon itself, and that's the art of demolition.
I have an article here. It's only 3 sentences, if I could read it, by the designer of the World Trade Center.
Go ahead.
It says, architects who designed the World Trade Center expressed shock that the 110-story towers collapsed after being struck by a hijacked passenger jetliner. The World Trade Center was completed in 1976 at a cost of $350 million, and one of the towers had survived the 1993 attack by terrorists in an explosives-filled van that killed 6 people and injured more than 1,000 others, United Press International reported. Lee Robertson, the project's structural engineer, addressed the problem of terrorism on high-rises at the conference in Frankfurt, Germany last week. Chicago engineer Joseph Burns told the Chicago Tribune, Burns said Robertson told the conference, quote, I designed it for a Boeing 707 to hit it, unquote.
Well, I rest my case. Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome.
I really appreciate that. I told you folks, see, I don't make statements unless they're true. I just don't. You know me. If I don't know something, I'll tell you I don't know. If something's speculation, I'll tell you it's speculation. They designed these things to withstand the impact of a modern jet aircraft. Big passenger-carrying airliners.
The third building definitely just came down, just straight down.
Third building came straight down. It's not connected to the other two.
Nope.
The other two didn't fall on it.
Nope.
It's a third separate building altogether, and it collapsed and no plane flew into that.
That's right, and went straight down.
Wow.
Didn't teeter or anything like that.
Well, you see, I didn't even know about that one.
I just learned about it right now. And
Were you running tape, I hope?
No. I just flipped it on. And
I hope somebody was running tape. What network was that on?
This is on ABC.
I hope somebody out there was running tape on ABC when they just showed that footage, because we need that. That's proof positive. There's no way that anybody can refute that those buildings were blown up and brought down intentionally if what Bart just told us is true. But we need it on tape. Somebody get that on tape for us, please. Gee, Bart, I'm glad you were watching. I know that was Janelle watching also?
No, she's not here right now.
Oh, that's too bad. I was hoping for another witness. So nobody could call in and say you didn't see that. I hope somebody else was watching ABC and saw that. If there is a third building that collapsed just like the other two did, no plane crashed into it.
Nope. The anchor even asked the civil engineer who was being interviewed, do you have any idea why the third building came down? He said, I have no idea. And also, they stated that people have expressed that they believe that someone like a civil engineer or a structural engineer may have been a part of this. And this person being interviewed said he sure hope not, that civil engineers would be wanting to protect life, not take life.
Oh, yeah. Oh, come on. Give me a break. There's criminals in every occupation, in every profession, and somebody would have to know something about the structure of those buildings to do this.
Yes. And what's really interesting is that this civil engineer, John Magnuson, he stated that the towers were built in the 60s, and they were, at the time, of course, they were at the pinnacle of design, and they were built with major redundancy. Actually, the columns, he said, were 39 inches from center to center. So the columns were 39 inches apart, whereas in modern buildings, they're about something like 10 feet apart.
Uh-huh.
And so they're actually built very, very strong, and yet, level to the ground now.
Yeah. You talk to these people who do professional demolition jobs to bring buildings down, and they'll tell you. I've talked to a lot of them. In fact, I used to teach underwater demolitions for the College of Oceaneering. I worked with demolitions underwater. I've talked to these guys many times to learn things and to become more proficient at what I know about explosives, which was initially taught to me by the United States Navy before I went to Vietnam. And they tell me that it's extremely difficult. It is not normal for a building to come straight down, and it's extremely difficult to make them come straight down. Good evening, on the air.
Yeah, Bill.
Yeah.
I wanted to call you and put my 2 cents in on that third building. I just seen it not long ago go down, and it went down pretty much the same as the other 2 did. It just went straight down.
Yeah. This whole thing is so disconcerting, and it just hurts so much. I mean, way deep down inside to see this happen. Even though I predicted it, I knew it was coming. I've been telling you. I even predicted the city. I told you that they didn't bring down the World Trade Center the first time, and the second time they would probably be successful. I've been telling you for years that if they don't get their way, if all of this stuff that's happened does not enable them to bring about their world totalitarian socialist government, disarm the American people, and create their new world order, they'll blow up an American city with an atomic bomb. They will do it. I've said it probably a couple of hundred times.
Yeah, well, I know this.
They'll do whatever it takes to get what they want. That's to enslave the human race under a world totalitarian socialist government. Reduce the population of the world to what they call a manageable level. Do away with the ownership of private property. And if you read the whole Communist Manifesto, it's right there. That's their goal. That's what they want.